Hi guys, NSCULLY here. I've decided to redo my my tutorial on modding a controller because the sound on it wasn't very good. So I thought I would try and do it better this time. I've got a different microphone that I'm using on a different laptop, which is really complicated actually. But I thought I'll show you also. I'm going to try and show you a bit more detail, some of the bits that I couldn't get to. So I've got a bit more organised this time. I've actually sorted out some things beforehand. So fingers crossed this goes a bit better. Basically what I touched on last time was that controllers that you can buy which are modded, and I mean by modded what I mean is cosmetically modded, not rapid fire mods, aimbots, stuff like that. I don't do that. I don't agree with it. I think anybody who plays a game like that, I think honestly you're wasting everybody's time, you're wasting your own time, you're just doing it to be a dick, right? Cosmetic mods are fine, you know. About the closest thing I use to a mod that improves my gameplay is a control freak. And if you don't know what control freaks are, they're do you know what? Actually, give me a second. I'll tell you what. I'll go and get my controller and show you. Okay, this is my my controller. I'll move this one out of the way. This is my controller at the moment, what I'm using. Okay. These are control freaks. On the sticks there's like extensions which give you slightly better accuracy, or improves your accuracy slightly. Otherwise there are no extra buttons on the back. There's no other mods on it whatsoever apart from cosmetic mods. And by the way, in case any of you are wondering, this is actually the same controller I showed you before, which had the Deadeye written on it, but this is after I've changed it. So I've got the control freaks on it now, and it's got a new shell. And some buttons are different as well. But otherwise it's the same controller inside. But I just thought this was better. Somehow I'm going to spray paint Deadeye across here as well, and NSCULLY on this side, which is quite nice. I might even do a giveaway with the case. I've got the case for the old controller here, which is this has got Deadeye written on it. It's got stickers Deadeye, but I'm not really going to use it for anything, I don't think. So I might do a giveaway with that at some point. If you think that's a good idea, then please leave me a like or a comment. Well, comment please, actually, because I'll know what it's for then. So leave me a comment if you think it's a good idea and you'd like to win that. Then let me know, and I might do a giveaway soon. Right, okay. Down to business anyway. This is all to do with like custom controller modding basically. I'm showing you how to take the controller apart and put it back together in the correct way, so you're not going to break your controller or anything like that. Last time I used my Phillips screwdriver, and I have no idea where it's gone. It's disappeared since I last used it, which was to change the case on that controller. So today I'm going to go with the star ones. I've got two now. You probably won't be able to see those in the camera. You couldn't see them last time, but they've got different heads on them to a Phillips screwdriver. A Phillips screwdriver is obviously like a cross head like that. On this, it looks like a star on the top, and they're specifically for doing controllers. Like I said last time, I would recommend you get one of these because these are a lot easier to use. I've got some other screwdrivers like this, and it's a normal kind of bog standard everyday screwdriver, bent as fuck that one. But you might notice that the stem is a lot thicker, and for getting into these bits sometimes it's a bit difficult. This one's actually not too bad. But generally, like the normal everyday screwdrivers are going to be too big for doing a job like this. So I'd steer clear of these, and I'd get yourself one of these. Get them on eBay, Amazon, £2, £1.50. They're not expensive. So it's probably, I mean, quite a lot of time you buy a shell actually, you'll get one of these with them. That's what happened. That's why I've got two now, because with the blue shell I got for the new controller, I got this. So I've got a spare one. So today I'm going to show you this controller here, because this one's using the star thing instead of the Phillips, and I have no idea where that Phillips screwdriver's gone, so I can't show you that. So I'll show you this one. This is a working controller, and I still use this one. And I did this one myself, and it's nice. It's a very simple, basic kind of mod. You can go a bit more to town, like I've done with this one. Go a bit mad with it, or you can keep it simple like this and just make it look slightly different. It depends on what your own personal preference is. So basically you start off on the back, take the battery pack off, don't need that bit, okay, and you can actually see on this one, this one actually shows you where the sticker was. So there's a sticker here on the back there, and I've punched a hole through to get to the screws. And all you do is just unscrew those. Okay, put the screws to one side, make sure you don't lose them. Okay, welcome back guys. Once you've taken out the screws, you should have 7 screws just here, and you'll be left with your controller like this. It should still stay together on its own. What you want to do is then gently prise the back of the case off of the front. Don't do it the other way because all your buttons are going to fall off otherwise, because they fall obviously downward using gravity. So always take the back off and hold the front facing down like this, okay, rather than the other way around. Also, if it's a wireless controller, I know I showed you last time the wired controller with the wire at the top here, and obviously you're not going to have your battery pack or anything here, it will just have a pinhole screw here. But this is a wireless one, so you need to be careful of the springs here. Make sure you don't get caught or pull them out or anything like that, because you don't want to do that because it's going to wreck your controller. So it's kind of gently... Kids outside if you can hear that. Gently take off the back there, like that, and you'll be left with 2 halves like that. This is obviously like your main chipboard, which has got all your electronics on it that make everything work. So I'm not going to show you too much on that. I will show you the triggers at the end because they are the most complex bit. But I don't want to start taking this one apart too much. So what I've done, now I'll show you obviously how to take it apart. I'm going to switch over and use my backup controller, which is this little white one, which I've put together earlier on. It's also got different colours. I can show you the different colour buttons, etc. I forgot to put this bit on. But you'll have this bit here. It should look like this once you've taken the electronic board bit out. In fact, I'll just show you that quickly just so you know I'm not lying to you. There's nothing else that needs to come out. Once you take that, that looks alright, different colours but practically the same. See? Okay, so that's that. Put that carefully there. Okay, and with this, you obviously got the interchangeable trim just here. This grey trim. Obviously this is just multiple colours. I've just put bits together to make one controller. So you've got the trim, and that easily just pops off like so. I don't know if you can see it's got holes. There is in fact 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. It's probably not really that easy to see just there, but it probably looks like more holes as well because you've got multiple holes for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But on that fits to just here. You actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the bits that goes on, and that literally just clips back on there like that. So I'll show you that in a bit when I put it back together. We'll start with the buttons. You've got the rubber little padding bit with the connections here. Okay, and underneath that you've got a series of buttons. You've got, this is your on-off Xbox button. This is your start and select button, just here. Okay, and then you've got your buttons. You normally play the green, the yellow, the red, and the blue. The X, Y, A, and B here. Okay, this here is your D-pad. So if I take that off, underneath that is your D-pad, just here. Okay, and that we'll start with the D-pad. That's pretty easy. All you've got to do is there'll usually be a couple of screws in here, but I've taken them out already just for the sake of saving some time. And that's just easy. You just pop that off. Lift up your control, and then you've got your 2 halves. So that's the bit you see on the outside of the control, and this is the bit on the inside. I touched on the last video saying that there are different types, and as I'll say again, there are some different types. This is another one of them. I still can't remember the name of it. As far as I can tell, it's a swivel thing, or twist D-pad. Basically, this won't fit. If I try putting this into this controller, it's not going to fit. no matter what I do, that isn't going to fit, and it doesn't come apart. So you have to make sure that you have a casing that will fit this kind of D-pad if you're going to buy one. So please make sure you've got the correct casing for the D-pad. This is the older type one. It's probably the most common one you'll see as well. So this is the one that I'm going to show you. And like I said, that just literally, you'll have the case in between that, and it will clip from one side to the other like that. Oh, like that, sorry. So the case should be in the middle. Okay, you'll see that for the front, and that will be on the inside. Okay, right. Buttons. We'll start with the middle button. That's just got 2 pieces, so that's your middle button there. And you take it apart. You've got on the outside there's like a clear outer shell bit. It's not always going to be clear. Sometimes it'll have lines down it, but that's where your LEDs show through. So they'll shine through the back, and then obviously on the front of the controller you'll see the whatever player you are on there. And then inside that's your button there. Like I said last time, it's probably not easy to see on the video. There are different size cut-out sections on each of these, and also on the button as well. There's different size cut-out sections, so you can only put that in one way. It's not going to drop through. If I put it in the incorrect way, it's going to stick out. It's not going to drop through. I have to twist it until it actually drops through. Do it the right way. So it drops in, like so, instead of sticking out. Okay, so if there are any questions, I'm trying to explain this in the best way I can. It's not the easiest thing, it's not the most complicated thing either, but when you try to explain it, it's not that easy either. So if there are any questions about anything, please do leave a comment. I'll try and get around to as many as possible. So basically, with this bit here at the top, which is your RB and your LB buttons, came off perfectly this time. You notice I used this one first, whereas last time I was there for ages trying to prise it apart. So you can change your LB buttons just by pulling this bit off of the back, like so. And that's interchangeable, and you just put it back on. There's 2 pins. You can see the 2 pins just there. 2 pins. All you've got to do is line that middle bit there, which has got 2 holes in it. You can see the holes up with the pins, and gently push them on, making sure you've got the LB, the RB right around, like so. Okay, can you see the little white things sticking through the pins now? Yeah. Also, there's your reset button you can change as well, and that's pretty simple. You just push it through from the back, and it sticks out there. You can change the colour of that if you really want to as well. I don't really bother usually. I don't show that. The buttons on here, I've chosen specifically these ones as well, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go close. Can you see they've got different colours on them now? So you've got the yellow, the red, the blue, the green. Not all of them have that. That's the most obvious way I could show you, the differences between them, but they don't all have that. That's a very nice set. That's a very easy set to work with. But as with everything on the controller, they do have different drop-ins. You can see little cut-out sections on each of them that stick out from the edges. If I tried putting that, if I taking the red one and putting it in that thing there, I can spin it around as much as I like, and that is not going to drop in no matter what I do. Same with this one. Right, you have to put them in the correct holes for them to actually drop in properly. If you don't put them in the correct holes, they won't drop in properly. So therefore, there's no point in wasting your time. That's why they're coloured. And even if they're not coloured, it's not difficult. You're going to know if they drop in, they drop in. If they don't, they don't. You've got them in the wrong hole, haven't you? So, but that's pretty simple. So that's pretty much all the buttons and stuff on there. Once I'll take all these out so I can show you how to put it back in again. You're left with your front case with nothing in it. Okay, your buttons are there. Okay, so you've got your buttons to one side. Be careful not to lose them. Right, now I'm going to show you this one. This is the trickiest bit, and I struggled. I probably got my fingers in the way last time I did this. I was trying to show you what you're supposed to do, and it's a bit difficult. Basically, there's on each of these there's a little white arm. As you push them in, the little white arm goes down with it. And what you want to do is, I'll show you with these. What you want to do basically is push the white arm this way, right, and push your black arm this way. Okay, so you're pushing your white this way, your black this way, and basically what you want to try and do is make enough space so you can just pop it off It is a bit fiddly. Can't do it from this angle, I'm afraid. Don't have to change it around. So yeah, literally thumb finger, and you're making enough space to pop that off if you can get it. There you go. I've just about got that then. It's not going to come out now. Nice and easy. There we go. Right, it is a bit fiddly. You're going to have to be careful with it. Also, you need to put in a bit of force, but try and put in enough force to do the job and not enough force to break your controller, because you obviously don't want to break your controller. Same again, you just pull the black thing back, and there's a spring. Like I said last time, there is a spring there. What you want to do is put your finger on the spring, pull this back so that lifts up like that, pull the spring off, put it somewhere it's not going to roll away like I did in the last video, like there, see? And then all you do is just take this off. We'll give it a little waggle, and then you can change it if you wanted to, say for an orange one if you really wanted to. You could change it to anything you liked. I'm not going to change it because I want it to stay black. But then what you want to do is when you put it back on, just outside pin first, and then we'll give it a waggle to get it back on again. And then get the spring. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but inside there, oh, you can see it this time, much better. Inside there is actually a, in this bit, there is a pin in the middle. What you're going to do is put your spring on that pin like that. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I've done that properly. Things I was trying to show you at the same time I was doing it. On that, and then what you can do is use your finger to push down the front of the spring like this, so it lands on. Can you see the little cross, little white cross just there? You want it to land on that as you push it up. So you're going to push it up. Try not to get my fingers in the way. Like this and that. It's on the white cross now, and as you push it back in, that should then click, and it has it sprung back in there like that. And then there's the tricky bit. You're going to use your screwdriver. What it is, you've got to prise out the white arm, just gently, and you're going to try and push and prise at the same time using that, so that clicks back in like that. As you can see, that's gone back on perfectly. Okay. Right. So that's one side again. And once you've done that, you've changed everything you want to change on it. You've changed your triggers and all sorts of stuff. Oh, by the way, anybody who does just want to know where the LEDs are, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't recommend that you change them, because it is a tricky job, and I did fuck up one control doing it. Right, that is an LED, and you can see the size of that compared to this screwdriver. That is, and that is. There's like a circle of them just here. Okay, and that's obviously where your LEDs are when you're choosing what player you are. Okay, they are literally really tiny, so I wouldn't recommend you do them unless you know what you're doing with soldering. Obviously some of you out there are going to know exactly what you're doing with soldering, so I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would recommend, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it, because you're going to wreck them. Right, always start with the buttons. So you put your buttons back in first. Actually no, sorry, I'm lying. Always start with your D-pad, because otherwise your buttons will fall out. So you break the D-pad in half, that in the front, like so. And put this, there's again, you can see there's cut-out sections here, just there, and there's one here as well, on this side of the circle, so there, and there. What you want to do is make sure that these little arm things, there's little arms on them, yeah, go into little cut-out sections like this. Like so, right? So that's going to drop in. Click that back in. And ordinarily what you do is you put the screws in there. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take too much time. You put the 2 screws that go in there just to make sure that's nice and secure. It's not going to move anywhere. Like I said, I'm not going to do it this time. So then you put your buttons in. I'll just put the cushiony bit over the D-pad. It's not in the way. Okay, buttons in. So we'll start with the start and select. Make sure they're the correct way around. For those of you who are very observant, you may have noticed on my one, and you can see that or not, this bit here is in fact is the wrong way around. I didn't even notice till after I'd done it. I don't know how I did that, because they actually have different sized cut-out sections, but hey, we all make mistakes. Right, then you put this the back in its sleeve, like so, till it drops in properly. Make sure it's going right way around when you put it back in here as well. So you should be able to try and twist it, and it shouldn't move. It should be fixed in there. So if if it is still moving, that means you haven't dropped it in properly. Then your buttons, making sure that your colours, so that's the Y button, go in the correct place. Okay, might push them in if they're a bit stiff sometimes. Alright, so that's your X button. And we're doing X button goes this side. That's your B button. Okay, and that's your A button. Drops in like that. And then cushions over the top of all of those. The way these go around, if you're not too sure, by the way, I don't even know why I'm telling you this because it can't go around the other way. If it went around the other way, it'd be like this, wouldn't it? But it's always so that the cutout bit here on the cushion, where it's got a bit missing at the top, that always goes on there. I don't know why I'm telling you that because it doesn't. You can't get it wrong. Anyway, so then you put these little bits back on. That just slides on there, like so, and these two pins here. Okay. And then your lower trim. There you go, and that's on. So that's all the buttons and stuff back in. We're going to revert back over to the green controller now, so I can show you. So once you've got your buttons back in, like so, what you're going to do is try and hold the plastic bits if you can on these rather than the actual chipboard. You're going to gently place these back into the little sliders that they came out of on the side. Okay, and then try and get your joysticks through the little holes provided, and it should hopefully drop back into place nicely. If it doesn't, just kind of give it a bit of a waggle. Sometimes the cushions underneath where the buttons are tend to slip, so it might be a matter if you've got to take that back off again and make sure that everything's correctly where it's supposed to be, but it should hopefully go back properly. And then always when you're doing this, it's always triggers first, and then so you land it on the triggers and then pull it down. Okay, and then as you're doing that with the wireless ones, you're going to have to make sure you get the springs. Just use your finger to push them from the back in here, so they go back in, slide down, so they're in there like that. Okay, and once they're done, you put the screws back in. I'm not going to bore you showing all the screws again, I can do that in a minute. Once you've finished, obviously you're going to have your modded controller, like so. What you want to do is make sure that everything's working correctly. Especially things like the LB, you should be hearing a click and a click. You should be hearing those clicks when you're pressing those, and triggers, and that should feel like they're being pressed properly. Same with the buttons, all should feel correct. They still have a bit of give. If they're too loose and things like that, you might find that you want to tighten the case a little bit, readjust the cushion, something like that. But these, especially, the only thing I found that go wrong quite often are the LB and the RB buttons, and it's usually because somebody's used unofficial pieces and they're not quite fit snugly on the chipboard. There are little on the chipboard, the little buttons, white buttons at the top, which you can see are lining up for the insides of these. If for any reason these aren't working, take it apart again, check the buttons are lined up correctly. If they are lined up correctly, because I've had this before as well, if they are lined up correctly and you can't understand why it's wrong, try loosening your screws a little bit, because I've noticed once before I tightened the screws as far as they would go, and these just were like, they weren't getting the clicking sound, they weren't doing anything at all, and I took it apart numerous times and it wouldn't work. And I loosened the screws, especially these ones here that are up here. I loosened the screws around these, and it was because this was pushing too tight into it. It was restricting the movement of the buttons, which was making it not work. So just play about with it. I mean, if you desperately get in trouble and there's like anything that you don't know and you need to know, ask me. Got no problem with you. Leave me comments and ask me that. In fact, I'd love to get some feedback on if you guys are going to use this video to make your own controllers. Send me a picture. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see how your controllers turned out. So thank you for watching the video. I hope this one's a bit better quality than the last one. I know the last one was a bit kind of all over the place and the sound wasn't so great either, so fingers crossed this is going to be more useful for you who are doing controllers. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.